Hello, my friend. This is Clyde. This is what living ought to be like. I have a fairly long passage, but bear with me. It's taken from Colossians 3 and the first 10 verses. Since then you have been raised with Christ, set your hearts on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature: sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming. You used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived, but now you must also rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices, and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in the knowledge in the image of its creator. Let me be the first to admit, it's not easy being a child of God. Hold on, let me explain. It would have been so much easier if God's children lived in a walled, fenced, communal environment, self-sufficient, and not having to encounter non-believers on their turf in the outside world. But the truth is, that would not exempt you from sinning, because many of the sins we struggle with are really things we used to engage in. Let us take a close look at what the writer is saying. He's addressing believers exclusively. He says you guys are special because he describes you as living a new life, risen with Christ. If you are raised with Christ, it means that you are brand new, that your former life has been left behind in the grave. So now your focus in life, your future, should be characterized by a strong desire or motivation in pleasing Jesus. You are indeed different. So, if you are different, that difference must reflect in your lifestyle. A person who is raised from the dead does not come back with the old features of their former life. So look at where it begins to get tough. The writer reaches for a strong set of words. He says, put to death the old practices, the old behaviors, the old features that were prominent in your old life. He lists sexual immorality, impurity, lusts, evil desires, and greed, which he calls idolatry. Stop and think about this for a moment. The new you will likely have no plans of returning to the old lifestyle. So why does he say put to death these things? The writer, my friend, is intentional. The things from your past will not leave until you put them to death. To put them to death suggests that these habits are like living creatures. They thrive on something that you give them. The more you practiced them was the more they become resident features of your life. When you put them to death, therefore, you are no longer feeding them or making them come back to life. When you put them to death, they cannot come back. That is to ensure these former behaviors would have left you for good. When you put them to death, you are essentially saying that those old practices no longer have a hold on you. But to make sure that your new status is bright and godly, then you have to kill all competing behaviors of your former life. I have to be intentional and kill them. I have to kill those behaviors wherever I go in this life. Kill them, kill them, kill them. That was strong advice, but he was not done yet. He then invites a child of God to get rid of. What comes to mind is when you get rid of the garbage. The garbage bin in the kitchen is not the final dump for your kitchen trash. It must go outside for the garbage truck to pick it up and take it to wherever it goes through the final stage of the process of getting rid of additional ugly things in your life. Imagine this list to be just as direct as the previous list. Here, you're being asked to get rid of anger, rage, malice, slander, filthy language, lying. Once you get rid of something, it is expected to be gone for good. If, however, you kept some of the old features, then before long, those features start popping up in your new life. You find yourself behaving in some respects like the former self, which is now dead. So in other words, the writer is telling you, get rid of the garbage, those things that represent the dirt and grime of your former life. Once you get rid of them totally, then you are able to concentrate more on cultivating the new lifestyle which you have gotten with your decision to be like Christ. There's a simple explanation for the things you should put to death and the things that you should get rid of. The writer says that these behaviors are part of your former life, and remember that you have put to death those old things, but you rose with a new self, a new identity, and this new identity is getting more and more like what it is supposed to be the more you get to know Christ. The things you get rid of are things that are no longer useful to you, and so you replace them with new and godly behavior. My friend, it is time to start living good, living right. It is time to put to death old habits, and it is time to get rid of others.